Good Thursday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside that weather window. And today, a little bit of everything. Once again, a typical spring day around north central Washington. We saw some sun, plenty of wind once again out there today. Not as windy as yesterday, but still blowing out there pretty good. This is a beautiful shot looking down at the Okanagan County area around Brewster and Pateros. Of course, our Billy Goat camera, and there's where the Methow River joins the Columbia. And you can see some clouds along the middle of your screen. That's called virga. It's actually precipitation that doesn't quite reach the ground, and we did see a little bit of that up north, and plenty of sunshine here at home. And taking a look at our upcoming weekend, boy, I'll tell you, things look pretty nice as we get into Saturday and Sunday. Of course, our long Memorial Day weekend. We are expecting dry conditions, warmer temperatures, and good news for all of us, at least here, a lot less wind. Saturday and Sunday look very nice, and then we could be talking temperatures in the 80s as we get into next week, and we'll talk more weather coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. An East Wenatchee motorist allegedly sped away from Wenatchee police Tuesday night and rammed a pursuing squad car. A Wenatchee man who ran from a police traffic stop and then hid in an East Wenatchee home was sentenced Wednesday to 2 years in prison. And Moses Lake police arrested 4 juvenile suspects this week who were suspected of committing a series of car prowls. But first, we begin tonight. A Leavenworth man died and another person was injured after a 2-car head-on accident. That happened about 1:45 yesterday afternoon at the Big Y interchange near Dryden. According to the Washington State Patrol, 81-year-old Charles Lemons was driving a 2005 Chrysler PT Cruiser westbound on Highway 2 and on the Highway 97 overpass when, for an unknown reason, his car crossed the center line and struck a 2016 GMC Sierra being driven by 67-year-old Arlen Simon, also of Leavenworth. Lemons was pronounced dead at the scene. The passenger in Lemons' car, his 79-year-old wife Catherine Lemons of Leavenworth, was transported to Central Washington Hospital. The extent of her injuries are not known. Neither Simon nor the passenger in his truck, 44-year-old Aaron Simon of Leavenworth, was injured. Traffic was detoured for nearly 3 hours. The cause of the accident is under investigation. Meanwhile, an East Wenatchee motorist allegedly sped away from Wenatchee police Tuesday night and rammed a pursuing squad car. 26-year-old Antonio Banuelos allegedly drove off in an orange Kia. That happened at about 12:30 a.m. when a police officer tried to stop him in South Wenatchee. He then headed across the George Seller Bridge. During the chase, he allegedly crashed into a 9th Street guardrail and then rammed the pursuing police car with his own before abandoning his vehicle and then disappearing. Police located and arrested Banuelos about 24 hours later. They say he left his ID behind in the car. They plan to seek charges of fleeing police, reckless driving, and second-degree assault. A Wenatchee man who ran from a police traffic stop and then hid in an East Wenatchee home was sentenced Wednesday to 2 years in prison. Mitchell Figueroa Ibarra, 26 years old, pleaded guilty to fleeing police, methamphetamine possession, and unlawful possession of a handgun. Back in January, he led police on a high-speed pursuit through East Wenatchee before taking refuge in a home on 5th Street Northeast. It was more than an hour before he surrendered. Figueroa previously served just under 7 years in prison for a gang-related stabbing. Moses Lake police arrested 4 juvenile suspects this week who are suspected of committing a series of car prowls. 2 of the suspects are 13 years old, another 15, and the 4th just 12 years old. Police say they also identified 2 of the youths, the 15-year-old and one of the 13-year-olds, as suspects in an armed robbery that took place back on May 12th. In that incident, the teens reportedly agreed to sell $100 worth of marijuana to a 20-year-old man, but instead robbed him of cash at gunpoint. 7 vehicles in the Knowles Vista and Paxson Drive areas were prowled Sunday night and early Monday morning with cash, credit cards, purses, small electronic devices, and a wedding ring stolen. Police said all but the cash were recovered. 2 of the suspects were booked into juvenile detention and the other 2 released because of their ages. Well, coming up next, strong winds down to tree and power lines on Lake Wenatchee Highway Wednesday morning, knocking out power to Chelan PUD customers and forcing a lengthy closure of the highway. An unfortunately eventful week continued for McGlynn's Public House Wednesday when strong winds toppled a tree in the Wenatchee's restaurant's outside seating area. Icicle Road in the Upper Valley has reopened, and the city of Chelan is holding a weekly contest to select the most unique face mask. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
Aging and Adult Care offers many in-home care options and services for seniors and family caregivers. But did you know they also offer free in-home delivered meals? Aging and Adult Care has expanded its program for home-delivered meals to help elderly and vulnerable adults at this challenging time. If you are in need of prepared meals or know someone who could benefit, call Aging and Adult Care for more information about free home-delivered meals. Call 509-886-0700.
The two hottest pickups in America are at Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. First, the Ram 1500 with back-to-back Truck of the Year awards from Motor Trend, and now the Car and Driver 10 Best list for 2020. They call it a luxury sedan with pickup capabilities. Ram is on a roll now with third-generation EcoDiesel power. Next up, the Jeep Gladiator, also a 2020 10 Best model based on the new award-winning Jeep Wrangler. It has options and capabilities that no other truck can offer. Two more reasons when it comes to buying a truck: there's no reason to leave town.
Welcome back. In another news, Lake Wenatchee Highway was closed much of Wednesday after strong winds toppled a tree onto power lines. About 260 Chelan PUD customers were without power until late afternoon as crews repaired that damage. The tree fell about a mile past Brown Road, with motorists rerouted to North Shore Road while the work was completed. Well, an unfortunately eventful week continued for McGlynn's Public House Wednesday when strong winds toppled a tree in the Wenatchee restaurant's outside seating area. The restaurant reports that nobody was injured in that incident or on Tuesday when a lightning strike knocked out power to the building on Orondo Avenue. The restaurant continues to offer takeout service during the COVID-19 shutdown despite the recent challenges. One casualty of the tree was a 1920s door, but the center panel with a John Muir quote survived, and the restaurant plans to hang it inside the restaurant as a reminder of these strange times. In other news, the U.S. Forest Service will reopen Icicle Road on Friday, but advises motorists to expect some traffic delays. The road provides access to some of the most popular trailheads in the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest and has been closed since March 27th when Washington Governor Jay Inslee issued his Stay Home, Stay Healthy order. Most trailheads in the National Forest but campgrounds remain closed until sometime in June, but the Spur Road off of Icicle Road that accesses 8 Mile and Stewart Lake trailheads will be closed until May 31st for trailhead improvements, road grading, and the placement of new gravel surfacing and parking barriers. Well, now that protective masks are recommended apparel, it seems, the city of Chelan is holding a weekly contest to select the most unique face mask. Each week, a new theme will be announced, and residents are encouraged to send a photo wearing their mask to the city of Chelan or post on its Facebook page. Mayor Bob Getty will announce the weekly winner each Wednesday on Cozy FM radio. Winners can earn gift certificates to local Chelan businesses. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's features story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
Boating in the Wenatchee Valley starts at Bob File Boats and Motors. If you're ready for a party on the water, check out the line of Sylvan pontoon boats at Bob File Boats and Motors. Plush chairs at the rear fishing station will have you casting in comfort, and your friends and family who aren't so interested in what the fish have to offer can lounge on luxurious furniture in the front. See the Sylvan line of pontoon boats at Bob File Boats and Motors on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee or online at bobfile.com.
Bob File Boats and Motors.
We're dealing.
Bob File's gonna make you smile.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
Nissan is the value leader in new cars and SUVs. Check out these new models starting at under $20,000. The all-new Versa from $17,020. The all-new Sentra from $17,400. And the all-new Kicks from $17,995. Now you can have the Nissan style, performance, and reliability, all for under $20,000.
And they're all here at Town Nissan, up behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. In tonight's feature story, Jessica Johnson, Executive Director of SAGE, which provides victim support services, appeared on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley with Dan Kuntz this week to talk about how the COVID-19 has heightened concerns about domestic violence right here in the Wenatchee Valley.
We've seen the violence get worse, that there has been more broken bones or severe beatings, those types of things. So it's sad because we know those people are out there, but also during this time, and you and I have talked about this before, that sometimes it's easier to stay with somebody that you know than try to figure out how to go about being at a new place, being with different people, especially during this time of quarantine. So that makes sheltering people a little bit difficult too.
And there are all kinds of contributing factors to this, Jessica, not the least of which is economics. A lot of people simply don't have the economic wherewithal to get away from their abuser because they've been laid off and they're living basically day to day, month to month, just with food and rent, and that builds up stress, and that stress has a tendency to release itself in unhealthy ways.
Yes, that's exactly what we call the cycle of abuse, is that something happens. Well, first you feel the tension building, and then you feel like you're walking on eggshells around your partner. And then something happens like this, COVID, or somebody got laid off of work, or they're just in close proximity all day, every day. And that causes the explosion. And right now, I don't think that there really is a honeymoon period, because you can't really back away from that person if you're sheltering at home with them. But so I feel like instead of having like the triangle that we usually talk about, it's just going from tension building to the explosion, tension building to the explosion. So just a circle. And that makes it really hard for people because there's nowhere for them to get away. I mean, basically, we talk about power and control in a relationship for domestic violence, and that happens. But right now, there's no relief from that because that person, like I said, is sheltered with their abuser. And if that happens, the power and control just escalates. I mean, the abuser tends to be more controlling. The survivor or the victim doesn't have anywhere else to go right now, because we are trying to follow the governor's orders to stay at home and stay healthy.
All right, let's take a check now of that north central Washington weather forecast. And as always, before we get to those details, a peek outside our weather window, which takes us up north today to our Billy Goat Sky-Fi Tower camera looking down at the Columbia River. Here is the Methow River where it joins the Columbia, and of course Pateras and Brewster here off in the distance. Also some clouds right here, and it looks like rain is raining on the hillsides and down below. That's really not falling on the surface. It's called virga, which is precipitation that doesn't quite reach the ground. It evaporates just before that. So we are seeing some of that up north and plenty of sunshine here, and that allowed our temperatures to warm up somewhat today. Still below normal today, though. Right where we thought we'd be, though, at 66 degrees unofficially this afternoon. 47 was our overnight low. 50 is our normal low for this time of year. Record high going back to 1963, where it was 89 degrees on this date. Record low not too long ago, 10 years ago, 2010. 36 degrees. Sunrise this morning, 5:17, and the sun will set tonight at 8:39. Let's take a look at how our Friday's going to shape up. Boy, a long weekend. Won't it be nice? Hopefully most of you will have Monday off. The weather not going to be too bad, but first we got to get through tomorrow. Tomorrow's still a little bit breezy, not like today though. 69 Moses Lake, mid to upper 60s in the western Columbia Basin. Will be just like today, pretty much in Wenatchee and surrounding areas, Eniat, Chelan, and up in Omak. All of us tomorrow right around that 66 degree mark. So another day of below normal temperatures, and wait until you see next week, and we're going to get to that in a second. Surface loop tonight, we can expect mostly cloudy skies. Yeah, unfortunately that wind will continue about 15 to 25 miles an hour out of the northwest. We still could see some gusts tonight around 33 miles an hour. We are seeing high pressure though begin to build in, and that will definitely change our weather pattern as we get into next week. For tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, still a bit breezy. Yeah, one more day of it. Westerly 10 to 20 miles an hour. Isolated showers in the Cascades. Some of that could move over the Cascades into our area, but I think mostly dry for Friday. Saturday then, the start of nice weather. Mostly sunny skies. It will be calm, and the best part, warmer as we get into the long weekend this weekend. For Sunday, a few more clouds will move in on us. That's because we are seeing an area of low pressure that will throw some waves of clouds our way, but I'll tell you what, we're going to see some nice warm temperatures on Sunday, especially down in the Tri-Cities with highs in the 70s. For your Memorial Day, by all means, get out there, go fishing, boating, barbecue, picnics, partly cloudy, warm, and it'll be nice for your holiday Monday with temperatures warming up nicely. 80s for the Tri-Cities. We will see temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, and guess what? Same goes for Tuesday. Sunny and unseasonably warm. Here is our weather provider, that large area of high pressure, and it's dragging all of that warm air up into our area. By Wednesday, might be a little bit breezy, but we could see 80 degrees as we get into Wednesday, and maybe even higher than that as we get past Wednesday. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling 7-day forecast. Tonight, 47 degrees overnight tonight with 66 expected for Friday. Remember, still a little bit breezy tomorrow, so one more day of wind and then a warming trend as we get through the weekend. 73 Saturday, 75 on Sunday, and then your Memorial Day Monday, partly cloudy, and boy, just nice, isn't it? 77 for a high temperature, and even warmer than that as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Sunshine both of those days with highs in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
With TV advertising, what we want to do is more deeply connect with the community.
People spot me in different parts around North Central, Costco and Wenatchee, say, hey, you're the pizza guy. And so they wouldn't know that if it weren't for the TV commercials we've done.
We've been here so long that people already know who we are and what we do, but to have that image flash on their television screen as opposed to just hearing it on the radio or seeing it in the newspaper, I just love the fact that we can actually put our finger on when a customer comes in and says, I saw your ad.
It's becoming increasingly difficult in this digital age to know where are your customers listening or watching, because I watch all the different channels that they watch too, like Cooking Channel, History Channel, and so it was wonderful to be able to be on there.
I would say that if you want to do business in Wenatchee, then you should connect with the people of Wenatchee, and there's no better way to do that than with NCWLIFE.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a good Thursday to you. Staying home and staying healthy, Eric Granstrom on the NCWLIFE channel. Apparently, the injury recoveries for both Chris Carson and Rashad Penny not going the way the Seahawks would like. And so Seattle has popped up in a couple of rumors the last few days about shopping the market for a running back. According to Mike Silver of the NFL Network, the Seahawks have spoken to former Houston Texans running back Carlos Hyde this offseason. Hyde is coming off his best in his 6-year career, rushing for over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Seattle also reportedly spoke to former Atlanta Falcons running back Devontae Freeman. Add Marshawn Lynch to the discussion, and the Seahawks obviously looking for some added depth. Chris Carson's expected to be ready to start for the season, but he's coming off a non-displaced fractured hip. Rashad Penny is not expected to be ready to go as the season starts. He's coming back from a torn ACL. Well, Coach Pete Carroll is trying to do his best to keep the virtual meetings interesting for the team. Yesterday was no exception, with the sports world abuzz, of course, about Michael Jordan's documentary, The Last Dance. Carroll reached out to a friend to get an inside scoop.
So that's probably all that we could have ever learned from watching Last Dance. We had trivia questions. No, that's not right. Oh! We have a guest appearance today. Guest appearance coming into us from Southern California. Put him on the screen. Coach Steve Kerr. Here we go. How about that, fellas?
Let's go. Let's not pop it.
Quarantine cut, what's up, Steve?
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, so Steve, everybody wants to know that in the fifth championship in Game 6, did you really call it? Did you tell Michael that you wanted to take that shot, or was that little stuff we saw on the side? Was that real? Was it your call or was it his call?
Well, it was obviously his call, but no, he told me he kind of predicted the play because he knew what was coming. He was so smart. He always kind of pictured the play in his head and then kind of thought about it. So he just turned to me and he said, "Hey, I think Stockton's going to double team, so be ready." So
that's pretty cool. Now you were jacked for taking the shot too, weren't you?
I kind of lied and told him I was going to make it. I had no idea if I was going to make it.
Way to be discreet.
Hey, Steve, when in all those times, all the practices you had, was he always as tough a guy to practice against competitively as it was portrayed?
He was incredible to compete against in practice. He set a bar that I've never seen anybody set in terms of the level of competition every day. And I don't know if it's similar in football, Pete, but we used to scrimmage a lot more 20, 25 years ago than we do now. I think we've gotten smarter now to save the players' bodies a little bit. The NBA has gotten smarter about the way they schedule games. But back then we used to scrimmage in almost every practice, and he treated it like it was a playoff game. You know, winning and competing mattered so much to the guy. And I think it really kind of set a standard for our whole team every day.
Kerr and Carroll go way back. They've been friends since, Steve Kerr first took the job at Golden State. Coach Carroll invited him up to come to Seahawks practices and team meetings. The two also have recently started a new podcast called Flying Coach. You can find out more at Seahawks.com. Well, two major colleges in Washington are trying to plan for a fall football season with the real possibility of no fans. For Washington State, that means an empty Martin Stadium with a capacity of 32,952 and an empty Husky Stadium with a capacity of over 70,000. UW Athletic Director Jen Cohen says they're bracing for a dip of nearly $4.4 million in gate revenue. Washington State AD Pat Chun says the only thing that's certain is that there's going to be uncertainty. Surveys nationwide show the majority of fans want to be able to return to stadiums and cheer on their favorite teams. Hard part is whether they'll be allowed to do so. Cohen said, quote, "I think the interesting thing about this is that it could potentially vary based on the state that you're living in," end quote. The U.S. is following the lead of other sports, pro sports now competing in Europe and Asia. They began play without fans, but slowly are allowing fans to through the turnstiles. One thing is for sure, this college football season is going to resemble nothing like we've ever seen before. Well, coming up on the NCWLIFE sports schedule, we continue with our great games of our past tonight. It is Game 5 of the Doyle Cup Championship between the Wenatchee Wild and Spruce Grove Saints. Our checker has the call from way back in May of 2018. That starts at 7 o'clock tonight. Coming up tomorrow, the rest of the schedule for the weekend has Apple Sox baseball tomorrow night at 6:30. Yakima Valley Pippins in town from last August. Saturday is an Eastmont versus West Valley double dip, as will feature wrestling at 2 o'clock, followed by football at 6:30. Then coming up Sunday, well, we heard it from the Neals. They gave us a pizza, so, we could be bribed. We've got a couple of wild hockey games coming up on Sunday against the Merritt Centennials from back in November, on the 1st and 2nd of November, to be exact. That'll be Sunday, 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Eric. And as we close down shop tonight, another casualty of COVID-19 as Pier 1 stores nationwide, in an announcement yesterday, say they'll close as the company dissolves in bankruptcy, and that includes the Wenatchee location near Valley North Mall. The company announced on Wednesday that all 540 of its shops will shut their doors once a bankruptcy judge approves the strategy. The corporation says the coronavirus pandemic contributed to its problems, making it unable to find a buyer. The shutdown could be completed by this summer. Now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Yeah, I'm ready to make the payment. Yep, $500. That's what we agreed on. Correct. Yep. Okay, it's a Visa credit card. Are you ready? I got the number for you. Okay. The name is Grant Olson, Olson, and the number is, I'll call you back. Join me on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley tomorrow morning, Friday, right before Memorial Day weekend. If I still have a job, we'll have a great show. Grant, back to you.
Yeah, Dan, thank you very much. Hope you didn't use that card too much, by the way. While we have a little bit of time, let's take another quick check of your Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling 7-day forecast. And I'll tell you what, as we get into this weekend and beyond, it is going to be beautiful. One more day of possibly some breezy conditions on Friday, but high temperatures for Friday will climb into the mid-60s, so a lot like today. But then a big jump in our temperature on Saturday as we go up to 73 degrees. I'll tell you what, this long weekend looks really great. Mostly cloudy Sunday, though, but 75 degrees. Memorial Day Monday, partly cloudy skies and 77, and then we'll see lots of sun in the first part and middle of next week. 78 Tuesday, 80 on Wednesday, and past Wednesday into Thursday and Friday, we might be talking temperatures 80 to 85 degrees. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate Frappuccino.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha Frappitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks, so bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
In a world afraid of technology, one man, one show.
We'll bring you the newest innovations that may just change your life. This summer, Ray McNeil, and your Weekly Tech Update is your Weekly Tech Update with Ray McNeil.